Alright, what's up, folks? So, a few weeks ago, Vampire Mike did a video called The Hidden Gems of Sega CD, and he was going on about some of the games he thought needed more recognition or were just, really excellent games. Well, there's kind of a list of games that I feel like are, I wouldn't say necessarily hidden gems because they're somewhat somewhat popular, but still games that maybe people haven't given a chance because they've dismissed them because they've either played their other 16-bit counterparts or they've heard about bad things about them. So I figured I'd kind of give a quick rundown of a few games that I thought need everybody's attention and they need to be played. So first on the list, this is in alphabetical order, so it's in no particular order other than alphabetical. The first on the list is Echo the Tides of Time. I think this is a freaking fantastic game. And the fact that they add in some, I guess, FMV cutscenes, that elevates this version above the Game Gear and the Sega Genesis version. It's pretty much the exact same game as the Genesis and the Game Gear game, story-wise, level-wise, and that kind of thing. It's just it has a much, much better audio soundtrack. It's actually in Q Sound, which was kind of a, I guess, sort of Dolby Pro Logic in a sense that Sega came up with. It was basically Sega's version of Dolby Pro Logic. If you have two speakers and you set them up at the exact same position from the TV, it creates kind of a faux surround sound, if you will, where it shows in the instruction manual. Basically, if you sit yourself back 3 feet from the TV and each speaker 3 feet to the left from the TV, so it makes a perfect triangle of you to the speaker, then pretty much it's like it'll actually throw sounds out in this thing. But I thought it was great. The Echo games took advantage of Q Sound. There was a couple other games that took advantage of Q Sound. I'm drawing a blank though. I can't quite remember what they were. Yeah, I remember what it was. I'll get that in a second. But, yeah, I definitely, anybody who has a Sega CD system or who emulates Sega CD, I definitely recommend Echo Tides of Time. It's, to me, it's a much better story than Echo the Dolphin. It's a stronger story. So, there's that. Moving right along. Now, of course, we can't talk about Sega CD without talking about FMV, which is my personal favorite genre of the console, and that's why I love the console so much, is because of the overabundance of FMV games on it. I thought this is a freaking fantastic idea, and it came at the very end of the Sega CD lineup, very close to the end anyway. But honestly, if there is an FMV game to play, I recommend this one wholeheartedly. None other than Fahrenheit. This is a really, really original idea, and I'm really surprised that nobody's taken this idea to the next level with the current gen. I mean, you could do it in a 3D first or third person perspective type game, all like Fallout or something like that. But nobody's taking this concept. Basically, the whole game, you're a firefighter. You're fighting fires. And of course, since it's FMV, it's not that interactive. That's what I was saying. If they could have taken it like Ghostbusters, how that game was, they give you a pack and you go around, you spray fires or something. I don't know. I'm really surprised they haven't done another firefighter game quite to this level. I think there's two others. I think there's one on the original PlayStation, and there might have been one on the Xbox or something. I can't quite remember because I was looking for firefighter games. But anyway, it's broken into 3 levels. The first one is a 2-story house where you have to save a girl, get rid of the hazardous materials, and for bonus, save personal belongings like jewelry and the cat and things like that. The second level is depending on your difficulty level that you set on, is either a 2, 3, or 4 level apartment complex. It kind of reminds me of the apartments on the original Dawn of the Dead, where they go there, because I don't know, it's just I get that same feeling. And so you have to save a lady, save her birds, and again get rid of hazardous materials and things like that. Then the third and final level is you're in the underground, I guess, sewage bunker pipe nonsense area of a major university. And the dean of the university has gone crazy and he says he's going to blow the whole place up. And so you have to find him. And it's actually pretty difficult because the whole entire thing is an absolute maze. I thought it was a great game. It's first person. You are the firefighter. You walk around. You make the decision. Split-second decisions sometimes. It'll give you like 2 seconds to make a decision about what you want to do. I thought it was a great idea, great game. And I really wish that they would do more with the concept. But whatever. Now, this is probably one of my favorite games on the console, and it's the closest that you were going to get to the arcade port, or to the arcade experience, until they release it on the Xbox Arcade and PlayStation Network. And we're talking about the Final Fight CD. Really love the art on this box. I mean, I love everything about this game, but the art is really what drew me, so I had to get the original game. And it's such a pristine copy, too. I mean, there's a little bit of bending at the top, but I mean, I don't care. But freaking fantastic game, that's all I have to say. Just phenomenal game. Yeah, basically, guy... the whole entire city gets overrun with a crime syndicate, and so it's your job to go out and take care of it. It's basically Streets of Rage, but in my opinion, it's more fun than Streets of Rage. Moving right along, probably my absolute favorite FMV game, and the greatest, best example of what the technology could do. Ground Zero Texas. A lot of people like to dismiss it because it's FMV, but this is actually really, really, really well done. There's no other FMV game like it. It's a first-person shooter, and basically you're blown away aliens disguised as people. It's really, really responsive. It's really smooth. I mean, it's just a great experience all around. You have to get code combinations throughout the game, kind of like Night Trap, to progress and get security keys and that kind of thing. There's 4 levels. Each level you go up, the aliens get stronger and their weapons get stronger. Again, I thought this is my absolute all-time just favorite game of the genre. It just doesn't get any better than this. So if there's any FMV game to check out, it would be Ground Zero Texas. Just fantastic. And one of my favorite movie franchises as a game, or as a kid, and still is one of my favorite movies, just period, and also one of my favorite games as well. We got Jurassic Park. This is probably the best Jurassic Park video game that you will find, in my opinion. It's basically a point-and-click adventure, I guess, if you will, but to me it's a little bit more interactive than like freaking Willy Beamish or some nonsense like that. Basically, you have to go back to the island after the events of the first movie took place, and your job is to round up at least 1 egg from each of the 8 or 9 species on the island, and that can require quite a bit of puzzles fixing and things like that. Because, like, say for instance, to get the egg for the Triceratops, pretty much there was a whole rigmarole involved in that. And also to get the egg from the, I think it's the Dilophosaurus, there is a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of puzzles involved in this. But I thought it was great because each area has a kiosk, which is narrated by Dr. Backer, which he was the long-haired cowboy hat guy in The Lost World. He's a very famous, I guess, paleontologist. Is that what he is? Yeah, paleontologist. He's a very famous paleontologist, or he was at the time. Fantastic little tidbits of dinosaur information. And I think it's just a fantastic game. At the very end, Engine sends some guys to come do the job as well. So the very end of the game, it's actually a shootout of you versus these 4 Engine guys, and it's just a fun game. To me, this is the best representation of Jurassic Park that there could ever be, because it's... I played the ones on Super Nintendo, I played the ones on Genesis, are basically platformers. This is a first-person, 3-dimensional, interactive experience. You're actually on the island after the movie took place, so I think it's just a much better experience. And also, one thing that I'll say about the Jurassic Park is this is another game that's in Q sound, so that takes the level up even another notch if you have your speaker set up correctly, and if you're set up in the right area with the speakers. It has just an awesome soundtrack, especially when the dinosaurs are roaring and you're spinning around in circles, because it says it's 3-dimensional, so you show up to an area and you have full panoramic view of the entire area. So as you're spinning around, that sound is going around. It's just a fantastic experience. So I recommend, out of all the games, I recommend this one probably the most, because of it's an experience you can't get on any other system. Okay, so another one of my favorite arcade games, if not favorite arcade game of all time, would be this, Lethal Enforcers. Now, I know you guys have probably played it on the Genesis, the Super Nintendo, the arcade, but the only reason I'm holding up here and recommending this is the soundtrack. It's an absolute beautiful, beautiful soundtrack. Red Book audio, compact disc, 44.1 kilohertz, 16-bit audio, just fantastic. Full stereo. It's just absolutely a fantastic soundtrack. I ripped this and put it on my iPod. I drive around town just listening to it. It's just a great soundtrack. It's a great game. I don't know. There's just not much to say. Not much else to say. I went and made my own custom tray art, because this one came in just a regular, CD jewel case. So I put it in a Sega CD jewel case, made the back insert, and so now it's ready to go. And yeah, I recommend this basically for the soundtrack. If you've already played the game, you've already played the game. It's the exact same game as the Sega Genesis, no different, no more, no less, but it's that soundtrack that really puts it over the edge. And another fun FMV game that I would highly recommend, talking none other than Night Trap, which was one of the launch games for the system, one of 4 or 5 of digital picture launch games for the system. This, Sewer Shark, Marky Mark, NXS, so maybe it was 4. Yeah, maybe it was 4. But anyway, this is a really, really good representation of what FMV can do as well. To me, it's not quite to the caliber of what Ground Zero was pushing, but it's a different concept. Basically, you're in a house that is rigged up with a CCD, closed circuit television, or CCTV. And pretty much you're monitoring all the cameras, and you're setting off traps and trapping people. It doesn't get any different than that. But personally, I prefer the 32X version than this because of the extra colors and that kind of thing. I would actually prefer the 3DO version out of all of them, but I don't have a 3DO, so whatever. But yeah, I'd recommend Night Trap if you haven't played it, if you've only heard about it. If you have a Sega CD, burn the ROM, buy the game, download the emulator, whatever. Do whatever you gotta do. Play the game, experience the game. I know a lot of people talk trash about it, but those people probably haven't actually sat down and played it. It was filmed in the 80s, so keep that in mind if you've never played it while you're playing it, because it's very campy, very 80s. And the last game on the list, unfortunately, is Panic. This is Sega CD exclusive. Well, it was at the time. I think they ported it over to PlayStation 2, I think. Yeah. But at the time, this was a Sega CD exclusive, and it's just really weird. Basically, you're a little kid. There's a virus that was set off that took over the entire world, And the virus isn't just controlling technology, the virus is controlling everything. It's controlling lawnmowers, it's controlling paintings, it's controlling home appliances, and of course televisions, the hospital, different things like that. I did a Let's Play of it. Vampire Mike did a Let's Play of it. You can watch either of ours. His is much shorter. Mine is the full game, so it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. His is like 10 minutes long. You can make your decision about which way you want to go on that. But at any rate, basically you're a boy and with your dog, and it puts you in a room, puts up a graph of different buttons. You choose a button, see what the outcome is, and move on. Either the machine blows up and you have to redo it, or the machine does something funny and you have to redo it, or you fix the machine and you just go on to the next room. It's that simple. I don't know how many rooms are in here. It says over 1,000 different scenes, but that seems a little... I don't think there's 1,000 different rooms. I think it's 1,000 different things, including the room and the outcomes. I'd have to actually sit down and count how many rooms are actually in it. But it's a pretty big game. As I said, I mean, without a strategy guide, without anything, just sitting, plugging away, I beat it in like 2.5 hours. I know some people who've put, days into the game. I know people like my cousin, he had it for years and he never even beat it. Because basically you get to a point to where you can start going around in circles, where you start redoing rooms. So you start the map is kind of like a diamond. So you start at the top of the map, and then you have to work your way basically going straight down to the very bottom of the map. But if you, say you go down a room, over a room, down, over, then if you make a selection, it could put you up, and then you could go over and then up again. So it really depends on how you're going. But if you're making the right decisions and you're plugging away, if you have a strategy guide, or if you just happen to make the right decision every time, you can beat the game in about 7 minutes. So yeah, it's compatible, one of the few games compatible with the Mega Mouse. So I recommend this game highly. It's a great game. But that's my list of games that I recommend on the Sega CD. As I said, it's not a huge list by any means. Some of these are quite popular titles, but I just feel like they need to have the play, the experience. Everybody needs to go out and experience these games. I recommend all of them. So thanks for watching, and peace out.